Hi, my name is Dustin Isom, and this presentation covers my MBA 503 Entrepreneurial Marketing Assessment focused on sprints 13 through 18. The core theme of this course and of my work was moving beyond ideas and assumptions and into evidence. Based on my core product, I use landing pages, comprehension testing, and cold outreach to validate whether my value proposition actually resonated with real customers. The ultimate goal wasn't just interest or positive feedback, it was to generate real customer heat, meaning understanding, emotional reaction, and intent to act. The mission of Class 3 was focused on two key areas: risky assumption testing and experimental landing page validation. Instead of assuming my idea was strong, I focused on identifying the beliefs that had to be true for my product to succeed, and then intentionally challenge them. This required treating my landing page not as a marketing asset, but as a testing tool, kind of an MVP that could reveal whether customers truly understood the problem, the solution, and the value. This mindset shift from promotion to experimentation was one of the most important learnings for me in this course. I had always focused on promotion, being the first thing, and experimentation should come first. Quick recap or rundown on my business and product. Botanic Attire is a shrink fit decorative plant pot skirt designed to instantly change the look of a plant pot without repotting. The key benefit is design flexibility without the mess, effort, or disruption that typically comes with changing pots. During this phase, my goal wasn't to perfect the product or brand, it was to avoid false confidence. I wanted to validate or challenge the riskiest assumptions before scaling investment, production, or paid marketing. This meant being willing to hear uncomfortable feedback and to adjust accordingly. Apologies, I'm going to keep drinking this water. I'm a little under the weather. My throat is extremely dry, so excuse me for that. These assumptions were foundational. If even one failed, this business model would weaken significantly. I prioritized assumptions based on importance and uncertainty and designed experiments to confront them directly with customer feedback. I needed to know, would design conscious plant owners actually engage? Do customers truly view repotting as a pain worth solving? Do they understand the product immediately? Does the benefit outweigh the effort to apply it? And most importantly, are they willing to pay? Every experiment and landing page change was tied back to validating or invalidating one of these assumptions. On this slide, I'll walk you through the evolution of my landing page using my landing pages tracker. And we'll work through the versions kind of one by one, what I learned, what I changed, and kind of how I landed on the final version. So I'm going to exit out of this deck and start looking at the actual landing page. You can see version 1 was extremely basic. I did my best at a first stab at this. And this was kind of very beginning stages of the program. But you can see it lacked clarity. It didn't clearly communicate what the product was or why it mattered. You look at version 2, you can't see the whole screen, but again, I was trying to get the header and subheader and kind of like the catch or the attention grabber. I improved the structure a little bit and the look, but the value proposition was still weak and the messaging was unclear. And then if we go down the version Three, this was the first landing page I created on Shopify, so it was getting better. I felt better about it. I introduced branding more. You can see the logo there. Um, and I added a hero video. I thought it was amazing to have in there. But while it helped visually, the comprehension relied too heavily on users watching the full video. And it was a bit laggy, so it was just such a red flag. Version 4 really got better. I came up with a bit more branding from a font perspective. My logos are there. I focused more on simplification. I added clear imagery showing the product applied. I highlighted ease of use and introduced a simple three-step process along with seasonal design examples, which I'll show here. So 4 was really kind of getting this landing situated. Um, and then 5 was, if you scroll down, you can see the discover more. This is the effortless transition, really explaining to them like, hey, it's as easy as one, two, three. But then if people want to scroll further, right? Obviously, this is the most important piece. I want to make sure everything can happen here. And there's a certain percentage, I forget the statistic, of people that will scroll. And for the ones that did, I wanted to give them a little bit more to look at. And so this really kind of pulls into, um, the more. So this is the fifth version, but this gives like the options of really bringing holiday seasonality into the versatility of the product. And in the final version, this was it here. You can see some changes in here, but really this was all of these renditions were based on customer interviews and instructor feedback. I positioned the product as available today, you can see now, versus like coming soon. I changed the language to back in stock. I shifted the CTAs from waitlist to buy now and reframed the email capture around exclusivity rather than future access. Each iteration reflected learning and not guesswork, and directly informed how I refined my value proposition, which is to transform your pots instantly without the mess of repotting with our patent pending street fit plant skirts. A little bit more in detail below that as well. I'll get back to the presentation now. And so that's how my landing page iterations really changed through learning and design, which I'll get into a little bit further on in the presentation. So this process was intentionally cyclical. Instead of building in isolation, I continuously ran comprehension tests, gathered steering group feedback, conducted interviews, analyzed the patterns in those interviews, and then iterated. This loop helped me identify moments where customers didn't just understand the product, they reacted emotionally and behaviorally, which were big indicators for me. And that's really where the heat began to emerge, and helped me make my decisions on what I was going to change or, fix or critique on the final version. The experiments revealed several strong validation signals. Customers consistently understood the product after brief exposure and recognized repotting as a hassle worth avoiding. They believed the benefit clearly outweighed the effort required to apply the product. Most importantly, multiple participants asked how they could buy the product or share it with friends, which was really exciting. It kind of hurt at the same time because I really wanted to I really wanted to, sell it to them. But I'm just not there yet. So, but knowing that they're, asking how or if they can share it with friends, it's a strong indicator of a real demand, not just like polite interest. The remaining unknown that I have is the exact price sensitivity. And I really feel that that requires more like market scale behavioral data, which is sort of a next step approach for me. Based on qualitative interviews and structured comprehension testing, I can confidently say at this point that my core assumptions around value and usability are validated. Customers didn't just say the product was interesting, they saw it as a desirable solution. And like I said before, they were asking how they could buy it, which is exciting. The really only assumption still pending for me is the outside of like the designs and like there's a lot more that I want to work on, but is still pending. It's still pending is the optimal price point. I did test some of this in conversations, and I was finding more heat at different price points with bundles and things, but I really do need to test it further. Um, which I feel like can't be fully validated without live traffic and conversion data. I really want to measure activity um, instead of just live conversations. And I think this is an appropriate and expected next step, not necessarily a gap in learning. Excuse me. One of my biggest takeaways from this course is that validation is never a one-time event. Moving forward, I plan to launch paid ads, test different price points, which I discussed a couple of times, analyze real conversion behavior, and continue refining messaging based on evidence, which was key for what we learned in this class. So, this framework will guide how botanic attire evolves from validation to scale and will continue to loop and continue to evolve and continue to learn and push product. So, thank you. This course fundamentally changed how I approach marketing and product validation. Really never knew to start at this approach. And so instead of relying on intuition, I now make decisions through structured experimentation and customer driven insight. I'm genuinely encouraged by the results so far. It's super exciting and wouldn't have reached this level of clarity without the tools, structure, and support provided through the course. And thank you for your time and feedback as well. I look forward to continuing this journey.